Hi, my name's Russ Mann, and these are my records. There are, in the bins and the vacuum cleaner box, 1,119 records documented on the Excel spreadsheet. There's probably a little more than that, but you know, it's around there. The first record I bought was 1984 by Van Halen in 1984. I was 12 years old, and I'd always been a fan interested in music. It'd always been around the house. There was records. My mom had records. My sister had records. There was records in the family, music, stereos always, and I had tapes and cassettes and anything. But anyway, by the time I was 12 years old, I finally got some money. I'm not 100% sure, but probably birthday money, more than likely. And we went to the mall, and I went and bought a Van Halen record. Started hanging out in the record store a little more and picked up some more Van Halen records when I could. Didn't really have a lot of money, saved up some allowance here and there, and couldn't buy a lot of records. Bought a few though, and then by 1985 or so I had picked up the guitar. So I started playing guitar, learning how to play rock and roll guitar riffs of the time, you know, some hard rockin' kind of bands that were around 84, 1985. And then by 1986, I felt a little ripped off. There were some of my favorite bands that had released some new records that I didn't really like. And there was some other music I was discovering, kind of namely that classic rock type that was pretty cool. And it was a little easier to play on guitar. I loved Van Halen, loved Eddie Van Halen, but I just couldn't play that on guitar. But I could play, like, you know, classic rock riffs and old blues. I picked that kind of up in 1986 into 1987. Then I discovered bands like the Rolling Stones and Aerosmith and Rod Stewart and David Bowie. And then once I discovered David Bowie, that opened up a whole new world. Then I discovered record stores in Vancouver, and I picked up records from there. You could buy cheap secondhand records all over the place, and my collection just basically grew from there. And then in 1989, I got a job in a record store. When I first started working in a record store, there was CDs. Now, CDs were the big thing. They were the future. And the record store had records, CDs, and cassette tapes. So it was kind of everything at the same time. But pretty soon, it was just CDs. And by 1991, I guess 1990 even, just like everybody else, I switched to CDs. Luckily, I didn't get rid of my records. I put them in boxes and I stored them away and I held on to them. At one point, I moved away to go to radio school and I stored my records and stereo at my dad's place. Thank you, Dad. And in 1995, I got a job on the radio in Salmon Arm. I was working on a radio station there and they had turntables. We actually played records on the radio, which was ironic because I didn't have my records with me, but I was playing records on the radio. I'll show you a picture of the studio. There's a turntable down there. There was actually two turntables, and yeah, we would play music on vinyl and CDs on the air. And then in the late 90s, I was reunited with my records. I moved again for radio back to my hometown, and I got the stereo out and I got all the records out again. It had been about 10 years since I really listened to them, but it was just awesome rediscovering all my old records, all my favorite tunes. And then, thanks to David Bowie, in 2002, I rediscovered record buying again. David Bowie released an album called Heathen in 2002, and I found out it was going to be released on vinyl, so through the local HMV CD store at the time, I ordered a copy. And then when I went to pick it up, the manager, I got talking to her, and she said that, yeah, we can get records. They're available. We don't stock them, but they're available. So I got her to print me up a catalog of records available, and I started buying records again. Now at the time I had a little over 500 records, not just my records from when I was growing up, but some of my mom's old records, my sister's old records, some old family records. I managed to hold on to those. Early 2004, I moved again for radio work. I came to Calgary to work on the radio here, and I discovered Recordland. Recordland, wall-to-wall records, just a record buyer's paradise, and good prices too. At the time, especially 2004, you could get great records for like $8-10, things like that. So I definitely started to fill out my collection. Not just Recordland, there's Hot Wax at the time, Melodia Records, Sloth Records, they're all still around. There's a lot of good record stores here in Calgary, and basically from 2004 to 2011, my collection doubled. In 2011, that I started traveling with my future wife at the time, now wife. We started doing some traveling just around North America at first. We went to LA, we went to New York City, then we went to France, went to Paris, Strasbourg, and then we went to Amsterdam, we went to Brussels, Belgium, we went to London, England, and everywhere we went to record stores. You'd be amazed how many great record stores there are in Brussels, Belgium. Bought a lot of records in a lot of record stores in a lot of cities down in the U.S. Chicago, LA, Minneapolis, New York City, San Francisco. We've been to Memphis, New Orleans. We got married in New Orleans, went to a record store. Orlando, we've been there a couple of times. There's a lot of great record stores around and picked up a lot of great records. Still, every once in a while, there was a few years there that I would kind of make a list through the year of records I wanted, and then on my birthday, around there, I would hit the record store. That would be my birthday gift to myself. Happy Record Store Day to me. So after hanging out in record stores for over 35 years, working in radio for 25 years, I've managed to pick up a few pretty cool records along the way. And I love to check out a cool record, so I thought maybe you would like to check out a cool record.